Welcome everyone to this exciting gaming PC build video. Today I am going to show you step by step how I assembled a powerful white themed gaming PC featuring the Intel i5-14600K MSI Z790 motherboard, RTX 5070 graphics card and a 360mm AIO cooler. This build is focused on great performance for 1440p gaming, smooth content creation, and a clean aesthetic. We'll go through unboxing each component, installing them carefully, cable management, and finally the big moment when we power it on. Whether you're a beginner wanting to learn PC building or just here to enjoy the process, I hope you like this build. Let's get started. Alright guys, let's kick things off with the heart of our build, the MSI Pro Z790 SI Wi-Fi motherboard. This is a solid Z790 chipset board from MSI designed for Intel's 12th, 13th and 14th generation processors on the LGA 7000 socket. Right out of the box you can see the premium black and grey design with that sleek Lightning Gen 5 branding. Inside the box we get the motherboard, I/O shield, SATA cables, Wi-Fi antenna and some manuals. Pros: great value for a Z790 board, strong thermal solutions with extended heat sinks and M.2 shield frozzer. Modern connectivity including PCIe 5.0 and USB 3.2 Gen 2 Gen 2. Good for high-speed DDR5. Cons: it's the entry-level model in MSI's Pro series, so VRM is basic compared to higher-end boards. No onboard debug LEDs or BIOS flashback button. Audio codec is standard, so serious audiophiles might want an external DAC. Overall, for a gaming PC build at this price point, this motherboard gives you excellent features without breaking the bank. This board supports DDR5 memory up to 6600 plus MHz with overclocking, has a PCIe 5.0 x16 slot for your graphics card, and multiple M.2 slots with shield frozzer cooling. Power delivery is handled by a 12+1+1 duet rail system with dual 8-pin connectors, more than enough for most gaming CPUs even with some overclocking. It also comes with built-in Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3 plus 2.5G LAN, perfect for stable online gaming and fast downloads. Next up, we are installing the storage, the Kingston NV3 2TB PCI 4.0 NVMe M.2 SSD. This is a budget-friendly yet very capable Gen 4 SSD. It delivers up to 6000 Mbps read and 5000 Mbps write speeds, which is excellent for fast boot times, quick game loading, and smooth video editing. The NV3 uses a RAM-less design with silicon motion controller and high-density QLC NAND. It runs quite cool and is power efficient, making it great for gaming PCs. Pros: very competitive price for 2 TB capacity. Strong sequential read-write speeds for everyday use and gaming. Low power consumption and stays cool. 3-year warranty with 640 TBW endurance. Cons: RAM-less design means slightly weaker performance during sustained heavy workloads. Performance can vary depending on the exact NAND used. Not the best choice for extreme professional workloads that need constant high-speed transfers. Installing it on our MSI Z790 motherboard is super easy. Just locate the M.2 slot, preferably the one with heatsink, remove the screw, insert the SSD at a 30-degree angle, push it down gently and secure it with the screw. The motherboard's M.2 shield frozzer will help keep temperatures in check. This 2 TB drive will be our main boot and game drive, plenty of space for Windows, games and content creation. Coming to the memory, we have the T-Force Delta RGB DDR5 16GB kit 2x8GB running at 5600 MHz. These are sleek white modules with beautiful RGB lighting that will look amazing inside our build. Being DDR5, they offer much higher bandwidth compared to older DDR4. For gaming and multitasking, 16GB is still a sweet spot for 1080p and even some 1440p gaming, though 32GB is becoming the new standard. Pros: attractive RGB design with good software control. Solid 5600 MHz speed with XMP support for easy overclocking. Good value DDR5 kit, reliable performance from Team Group. Cons: only 16GB total. For future-proofing, many now prefer 32GB plus. RGB lighting is nice but adds a tiny bit to the price. When installing, make sure the clips are open on the motherboard stims fast, align the notch on the RAM with the slot, and press down firmly until you hear the click on both sides. Since our MSI Z790 board supports high-speed DDR5, we'll enable XMP in BIOS later for full 5600 MHz speed. Let's install the brain of this gaming PC, the Intel Core i5-14600K. This is a powerful 14-core, 6 performance plus 8 efficiency processor with 20 threads. It boosts up to 5.3 GHz, making it excellent for gaming, streaming, and content creation. The K means it's unlocked for overclocking, giving us extra performance headroom. Pros: outstanding gaming performance with strong single-core speeds. Great multi-core performance for editing and productivity. Integrated UHD graphics 770, useful for troubleshooting. Still very relevant in 2026 for 1080p 1440p gaming. Cons: runs hot under load, needs a good cooler. Higher power consumption compared to some AMD alternatives. No included cooler, common for K series. When installing, apply a pea-sized amount of thermal paste in the center of the CPU, align the triangle marker with the socket, gently drop it in, no force, and secure the cooler. We'll pair it with a good air or AIO cooler for best temperatures. Alright guys, now comes one of the most satisfying parts of the build, installing the motherboard into the case. We are using this beautiful white Cooler Master Case H500p RGB mid-tower case. I chose the white version because it perfectly matches our white T-Force Delta RGB RAM, giving the whole build a clean, premium and modern all-white aesthetic. This case is not just good looking, it has excellent airflow thanks to the two massive 200mm RGB fans in the front. The tempered glass side panel will let us show off all the components once everything is lit up. First, I carefully place the IO shield into the case. Make sure it snaps in properly. Then I took the MSI Pro Z790 SI Wi-Fi motherboard and gently aligned it with the standoffs. Alignment is very important here. You don't want to force anything. Check that all the ports line up perfectly with the IO shield and that no ports are blocked. Once everything was perfectly aligned, I started screwing it down. I used all the available screws and tightened them in a diagonal pattern, just like installing a CPU cooler. Remember, you don't need to use too much force. Just make it snag so that the board is secure but not stressed. After the motherboard was firmly in place, I moved on to the front panel connectors. These are the small cables coming from the case: power switch, reset switch, HDD activity LED, and the audio cables. Connecting them correctly is crucial because without them, you won't be able to turn on the PC from the front panel. I took my time to route them neatly behind the motherboard tray. Good cable management from the beginning makes the final build look much cleaner and more professional. This white theme with the RGB lighting is going to look absolutely stunning once we power it on. Now the foundation of our build is solid and ready for the next components.
Coming to one of the most crucial parts of any PC build, the power supply. We have the high-end 1050 watt 80 plus gold full modular ATX 3.0 GX1050 Pro. In the quick unboxing, we saw the solid packaging and the big 1050 watt rating. Now let's install it properly. I started by opening the bottom section of the Cooler Master H500P case. The case has a nice PSU shroud that hides the power supply and helps with clean cable management. I carefully slid the PSU into position at the bottom, making sure the fan is facing downward toward the dust filter for proper intake of cool air. Then came the mounting process. I lined up the screw holes and started securing it with the provided screws. I tightened them one by one in a crisscross pattern to ensure even pressure. This step took some time because I wanted to make sure the PSU is rock solid and not vibrating under load. After the PSU was firmly mounted, I began the cable selection. Since it's fully modular, I only took out the cables I actually need. First, the thick 24-pin motherboard power cable. Then, the 8-pin plus 4-pin EPS CPU power cables for our i5-14600K. For the graphics card, I prepared the PCIe cables. I also connected SATA power for the SSD and other peripherals. Routing the cables was the next big task. I spent quite a bit of time tucking them behind the motherboard tray using the built-in cable channels and velcro straps in the case. I tried to keep the front area as clean as possible so that when we close the tempered glass panel, everything looks neat and premium. This 1050-watt 80+ gold certified PSU is more than enough for our current build and gives excellent headroom for future upgrades. Being ATX 3.0 compliant, it can handle sudden power spikes from modern GPUs like the RTX 5070. The gold certification means better efficiency, lower electricity bills and less heat generation. Overall, a reliable powerhouse that will keep our system stable during long gaming sessions and heavy workloads. Alright everyone, now we are moving to one of the longest and most important parts of this build, installing the GT-GW360X 360mm AIO liquid cooler. This white 360mm AIO was chosen to perfectly match our all-white theme with the white case and white RAM. During the unboxing, we took our time to check all the components, the large radiator, the three 120mm RGB fans, the pump head with the GW logo, the mounting hardware and the necessary cables. First, I prepared the top of the case for radiator mounting. The Cooler Master H500P supports 360mm radiators at the top. I removed the top panel and carefully positioned the radiator. I made sure the tubes were oriented correctly so they wouldn't interfere with other components. Then I started screwing the radiator into place. I used a crisscross pattern and tightened each screw gradually to avoid any uneven pressure or damage to the fins. This step alone took quite some time because precision is very important.
After the radiator was securely mounted, I moved to the most critical part, installing the pump on the CPU. I first cleaned the CPU surface thoroughly, then I applied thermal paste. I used the pea-size method in the center of the i5-14600K. Some people dread it, but for modern CPUs, the dot method works great. Now came the tricky part. I had to align the pump head perfectly with the mounting holes on the motherboard. The GT GW360X comes with a specific mounting bracket for LGA1700 socket. I carefully placed the bracket, aligned the screws, and began tightening them diagonally, top left, bottom right, bottom left, little by little. This ensures even pressure across the CPU for best thermal contact. I had to be very careful not to over-tighten and also check multiple times that everything was straight. This whole process took a good amount of time and patience. Once the pump was mounted, I routed the tubes neatly along the case to avoid any kinks and to keep the build looking clean. Then I connected the fans. I plugged the 3 radiator fans into the CPU fan header and splitters on the motherboard. After that, I connected all the RGB cables to the RGB header so we can control the lighting. Now, the Wi-Fi part. The MSI Pro Z Sun 9S Wi-Fi motherboard has an M.2 slot for the Wi-Fi card. First, I had to remove the small screw and metal cover from the M.2 Wi-Fi slot on the motherboard. Then I carefully inserted the Wi-Fi module into the slot at a 30-degree angle, pushed it down gently until it clicked and secured it with a screw. After that, I attached the 2 antenna cables. I screwed the SMA connectors firmly onto the I/O shield. Finally, I positioned the antennas upward and away from metal parts for the best signal. This whole cooling and connectivity section took nearly 4 to 5 minutes in the video because every single step needs to be done carefully. This 360mm AIO is going to keep our processor cool even under heavy load. The white color matches the build perfectly, the RGB will look amazing, and we now have excellent cooling performance for gaming and productivity. This was definitely one of the most time-consuming but satisfying steps in the entire build. Finally, the star of the show, the Inno 3D GeForce RTX 5070 Twin X2 OC White Edition graphics card. This is a beautiful white dual fan card that perfectly matches our all-white build theme. During unboxing, we saw the premium packaging with the brutal by nature branding and the sleek white design of the card itself. It has 12GB GDR7 memory, supports DLSS 4, advanced ray tracing, and SSF ready. Installing this GPU was exciting but required care. First, I removed the PCIe slot covers from the case. Then I carefully aligned the RTX 5070 with the PCIe X16 slot on the motherboard. I gently pushed it in until it clicked securely. After that, I screwed it down to the case using the rear brackets. 2 screws on the back to keep it firmly in place and prevent sagging. Next came the power cables. The RTX 5070 needs proper power, so I connected the required PCIe cables from the 1050-watt PSU. I made sure to route them neatly behind the case for clean cable management. Once everything was connected, I double-checked that the card was properly seated and all cables were secure. This card not only delivers excellent 1440p and even some 4K gaming performance with great efficiency, but its white color makes the final build look absolutely premium. Now for the final look, turning on the PC and seeing everything light up with RGB was the most satisfying moment. The white theme with the glowing fans and components looks stunning. This build is now complete. And here it is, the final look of a completed white gaming PC. After hours of careful building, cable management and patience, everything is finally together. Look at that beautiful all-white theme glowing with RGB lighting. The MSI motherboard, white RAM, white AIO cooler and the RTX 5070 all come together perfectly. This build is ready for high refresh 1440p gaming, content creation and everyday use. Thank you so much for watching the entire build. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more PC building videos. Let me know in the comments what you think about this white build. Until next time, stay awesome.